The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. Obviously, you're joining us at a very amusing moment. I was asking Begim, please don't miss any more checkmates in one. She said, okay. Hello.
And I was asking you too.
My legendary status apparently is slipping. Welcome to our show, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are here in St. Louis for the Summer Chess Classics, and we have been having a lot of fun, Begim.
Yes.
Hi, and tell us, after 6 rounds, the tournament's 2/3 over. We're in round 7. But first of all, tell us the standings for the Group A.
Standings, Group A, Benjamin, Burke, and Nikolas Theodorou, they're sharing, tying for first with 4 points, and funny fact that they are teammates. They're from SLU.
St. Louis University chess
Absolutely.
team, teammates at top position. Shout out to SLU.
Exactly. And for the third place, we have 3 ways tied too. Raunak, John, and Pranav are tying for the second and third with 3.5 points, and it's going to be a huge fight between those 6 players.
It's crowded at the top. And tell us about the standings for Group B.
Akshat Chandra is the solo leader of the tournament with 4.5 points, but he already made a draw today. So we'll see if Semyon, Andrew, or Arman can catch up with him, who are tying for the second with 4 points.
Outstanding. And as we go into the tournaments, first let's refresh our viewers' memory about the format for the 2 events.
It's 2 10-player round-robin tournament with 90 minutes for the first 40 moves and 30 minutes for the rest of the game with 30 seconds increment throughout the game.
And the schedule, I mean, it's straightforward, but nonetheless.
We're close to end the tournament.
Right.
We have only 3 rounds left, and today is the round 7, and we have 2 more days, and if it's necessary, we'll have playoffs as well.
And lovely,
right?
Necessary. You're doing great. I love it. Very charming as we get a look at the playing hall, and the players are really intense sitting at the board. I don't know who that is, but the player who's cupping his...
Nikolas.
Yeah, he's cupping
Aram
his ear.
Yeah, this is Nikolas Theodorou.
There you go. And tell us about the pairings and what our viewers can expect for this round 7. Let's start with the A
For
group.
Group A, we have great pairings as always, and our key matchup for this round is John Burke versus Pranav, and they both have 3.5 points.
And their line scores are matching. Both players have won 2 games, lost a game. Let's just jump into that game. Because for me, I thought coming out of this opening, this is a very theoretical stuff. This whole A4, A5 business, it's been around for a couple of decades, and the computers have really pushed the boundaries of this particular opening. I mean, there's a lot of funny moves, rook b8 to avoid AB. After the move bishop e3, you wanted to be able to defend this bishop. There are lines where I take, and suddenly the e-pawn, So you go rook a8, knight d2, h7, h6. Trust me, there are reasons for all of these moves. Rook e8, bishop b7, knight f1. And we got to exactly this point, and now I was confused. Right here, I thought that e4, e5 was the big move. The whole idea, at least to my way of thinking, was I really want this bishop opened up and in the game. And I thought you would play knight d5.
Yeah.
I kind of imagined that this was the way. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, wouldn't it just be great just to go all in on the king side over there? Queen c1.
And then the idea is to take.
Yeah, and if you take, you know,
I think he didn't want to give away his bishop.
That was probably
bishop on a8 and then a7 and b7 suddenly
Right.
starts to play for black.
Exactly.
I
He
think
did
that
play
was the
move-
point of d5.
Yeah, he did play the move d5, and I kind of felt, well, the board got hosed. And again, this is one of those variations, those openings that are so sharp and so tactical, and the lines are so forcing that by the time you get to the end of the variation, the game's a draw because everything got hosed off the board.
Yeah.
And as we catch up with the players, and we're not there yet, Queen c4, Knight b4. Ooh, wait a minute. I
John
thought we.
says no, it's not an easy position to
I was
play.
about to say.
Show me.
I thought we were going to see King g7 or something like that. Knight b4. Okay.
But we can expect this from Pranav, right?
Yeah, that's
we
pushing.
already know he's not as solid player. He loves to create some mess on the board.
Well, he succeeded with that last move because guess what? Bishop takes g6, and in the
I would be
words-
scared, to be honest, as black to play knight b4 because it feels like it's too early. You need to develop your rook first.
Yeah. There was a movie with Bill Murray. It's called Volunteers, and a troop sergeant, they lost their sergeant, and they were all misfits. And Bill Murray was asked by the general, "Where's your sergeant?" "Blowed up, sir." Well, the king side just blowed up. I mean,
Exactly.
bishop takes g6. Well, first of all, whenever you're defending,
You gotta exchange, right?
you trade off the attackers. I'm not saying that that's the only move.
Also, we can show why it's better to take on f3. For example, if you take on g6 immediately,
Yes.
which he did actually, by the way.
Commentator's curse. The moment you're about to give it, yes. So.
I was thinking if you tried this just to protect queen h6, queen f7, then
Yes.
knight g5 and queen g7, I just take on g7 and rook e7 and b7, bishop is hanging.
Is it
Hanging? That's the question.
Well, it is hanging, but there is
I think Pranav, that's why he took, well, after knight, knight is hanging too.
the knight is hanging too. Wow.
But it could be
he's-
then what you're gonna do.
Well, he must be thinking that the bishop is actually a better piece than the knight. Otherwise, you take it, of course. We're going to come back to this game because this game is exciting. But tell us about the pairings for Group B as well.
Absolutely. Group B, we already have some results. Luka Budisavljevic made a draw with Akshat Chandra, who is the leader of the tournament.
Right.
And Elshan, unfortunately, lost his game against Brandon Jacobson. It was a very unfortunate...
That was fast.
Yeah. Unfortunate game with white pieces, but our key matchup for this round is Batsuren versus Arman, who Arman has great chances to catch up with Akshat if he wins this round, because Akshat made a draw and he has 5 points and Arman has 4 points.
Well, let's get to that game.
And now we can see the players on our screen.
Yeah, there we have it. When we got into studio, and again, thank you so much for joining us, we got to this position, and I was explaining to you that America had this turn-of-the-century great, Harry Nelson Pillsbury, and Pillsbury was an extraordinary character. So, for example, he was very famous that we'd have a dinner together and you would bring a list of words, 35 words. And these words are the worst words ever, you know, like some chemicals, some unbelievable words. He'd look at the words. And during the dinner, you have your list and you would say, word number 34, and he would repeat it to you. Word number 30, and he'd repeat it to you. Word number 10, and he'd repeat it to you.
Exceptional.
He would do that while playing whist, which is a bridge game, and a chess simultaneous.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was off the charts, like remarkable. He would play what became known as the Pillsbury attack. He loved to put his knight on e5 in the center of the board, supported by the pawn f4, and then the rook left. And he won a number of
when
games.
I was a kid, it was my favorite.
Yeah, to get
move.
that
F4, rook
and boom,
F3,
boom, boom,
rook
boom.
G3 or H3, you just made them.
Exactly. Well, Arman said, not so fast, not so fast. I've got my tickles as well. And he played in this move, in this position, a move B5, which to my eyes is very unusual, a move that I don't see often in these positions. Normally speaking, you kind of expect that, there was going to be some trades in the center or, countering. B5, Queen B1, just kind of getting off
Keeping
the
the
C
pressure.
file and keeping the pressure. Takes on D4, and right here, that was a surprise move for me. I'm much more familiar with the positions after E3 takes D4, bishop takes D4, takes.
He's targeting B7 bishop.
Yes.
That's why he took on D4, so he can open up the queen.
That is true. That was his intention in terms of the recapture. B5, B4, and now Black may very well be threatening to take, and play knight G4. Pawn on E5 is a potential weakness. He traded. I always like throwing in those checks, driving my opponent's
It's kind of annoying too. It feels like he doesn't make a move. Right?
Yeah. And the nice part is when the bishop is on such a diagonal, this is coming with a tempo. Queen B2, F6, Bishop B1, Bishop C5. We've caught up with the players, and well, just
so
your
far,
thoughts.
I like White's position. I like White's perspective of attack. But in long term, I like Black's position. If you cannot attack me, then most probably you're going to lose your C4 pawn.
Right.
And
That's
then slowly
the target.
game.
And there you go. So the situation really kind of calls for White to step up the attack or to continue his attack. I don't know if Queen C2 is the right move to do that, to try to provoke something. The players are fighting hard, Begim.
Absolutely.
What are they fighting for? Let's start with the prize fund for the A group.
Prize fund for the A group is first place $6,000, second place $4,000, third place $3,000, and then the rest of the tournament also they're gonna get great prizes, and the total prize fund of the tournament is $22,000.
Very nice. And in Group B, what are those players fighting for?
Group B is fighting for first place $4,000, second place $2,500, and third place $2,000. And the rest of the players also get some good prizes with the total prize fund of $14,000.
Thank you, St. Louis. Thank you, St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center. We did say as we were coming on the air that we do have some results, and let's just take a look at those results. I don't think anything really happened in the game between Luka and Akshat, because essentially the players played a very, very
solid line.
Solid line, exactly.
I have a feeling both players today decided, I'm going to be solid. I'm not going to risk anything.
It sure seemed like they really knew what they were doing too, as the players went through a very, very topical line. And I remember seeing this position for the first time. It was a game of Vichy Anand, and Vichy played the move Bishop A3. And I thought that was hilarious.
When I saw this move, I'm like,
I just thought this was very funny. Two pieces are hanging. I'm looking and analyzing Bishop A5 takes.
maybe even Knight D5 is an option,
Knight
right? You're creating so many like weak pawns in the position.
Exactly.
And then why you don't want this?
And then this move Bishop A3. I thought it was hilarious. Guess what? It's become the main topical move in the position, engine approved and all that rot. Once again, we have a very solid position for both players. Nobody risked anything.
I do believe it was a preparation to Rook C7, Rook A7 by both players.
And there you have it. And a draw was soon agreed. But we had an accident,
It was
or rather
drama.
Elshan had a serious accident in his game with Brandon. Now this is all just very common stuff. would it be called a Zukertort? I'm not even sure what they call this opening. But if he had played e2, e4, it would have been a Perk defense with a symmetrical fianchetto. Elshan went for a little bit of space on the queen side, and for me, I must say,
a3 is an interesting.
Where
are you going?
This is a very confusing move. D6, D5. Maybe it's theory. All I'm saying is
maybe it was his preparation. Again, these days you will never know, right?
Until
it works.
How can I put this well? Bishops, obviously. Rooks need open files. Stop.
Yeah.
Bishops need open diagonals.
But b2 is a bigger diagonal than a3.
To begin with, but this diagonal is actually closed because of the d6. So if you were, for example, I'm just throwing some moves on the board. Go chop, 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 chop. The bishop is closed and the bishop is going to come back on b2. So what do? You open the diagonal for your opponent's bishop. So I'm like, okay, that move for me, totally tasered, confused. You tell me. I don't even know how to describe it.
I think we need to invite the players and
to explain it for us.
What are you doing?
Knight e5, I find that is a strange move.
I have a feeling it's an attempt to attack d5 and try to justify bishop a3, because if you take on e5, then yeah, my bishop is playing, attacking on e7.
So for me, everybody's developed, everybody's good, except for one guy. Good. Yeah. This is what I do. How about you? Well, not so good. You could get me into the game, coach. And how about you? Oh, coach, you really need to get me into the game. So I would find the move queen d3 like instantly attractive. The idea is just to bring the rooks into the center, and yes, of course, I do want to play for e2, e4. Knight e5, okay. f4, Pillsbury attack, anybody? Okay, but haven't I weakened e3? Yeah, well, okay, I can cover it. Okay, so no harm, no foul. Go ahead, play bishop f5, prompt me to sacrifice in exchange, and
Looks
I'm going to do it.
While.
I'll do it. f7, f6. Okay, I chased the knight, so let's chase it some more. Of course, I'm going to play h3. I'm going to drive the knight back, and now I'm going to sit and think.
And now I wish the bishop was on b2. you sit and think, and then you also wish at some point, right?
But okay, I'm gonna go. Okay, so what am I worried about? I'm worried that the knight's gonna come to f5. I'm worried the bishop is gonna come to f5. Of course, I'm going to play the move e4. And so, what do you think you're going to do?
Probably I should take or.
Which one?
Play e6, right?
Sorry, you're going to do what as black? I just played e4.
Yeah, I'm thinking, should I take on e4 or play e6? Because if I take on e5, you take on d5, I take on d4. And then most probably you will just retreat with the knight.
Right, okay, so...
I'm not sure about that position. Maybe it's good. Maybe
okay,
I can take on e5.
Okay, sorry. Give me a move. I want the audience to know what you're talking about.
F takes e5.
F takes e5, D takes e5.
You just take that. I was thinking of e takes d5 and e takes d4, that position.
Okay,
and
who do you want to play? White or black?
I gotta calculate.
Well, no, I mean you.
If you just take it like that, probably e6 and.
E6. Okay,
should be fine.
Okay. And this position.
Now you justified your bishop on.
A little
a3.
bit. A little bit.
You cannot still play bishop d6 because knight f7 is coming.
I was thinking about the exchange sacrifice and what that might mean for the position. I thought Elshan's intention was to go h3, drive the knight back, play e4. He blundered. He took and played e4, and this is instantly instantly
lost, whatever
losing.
you call it.
And you had a conversation with Brandon.
Yeah.
As we came on the air, you were telling me, go ahead, tell the audience what happened. What was going on with the players at this moment?
So basically, he said that Elshan was confident about his position.
And
played like confidently.
Knight D6.
E4, Knight D6. What he missed, in Brandon's opinion, is like Rook E6, and then he totally missed that after Queen D4, Knight takes C8, which was played in the game, and Queen takes E4. Suddenly he is lost.
Check.
After that's what happened, right? I think maybe his preparation or idea was not to take on F6, but immediately play E4, and he totally forgot about it, and he was confident about still his position.
You think he just mixed up his
yeah, it's just like not prepare. Maybe it's not a preparation. Maybe it's just like move order. Sometimes you just make moves by hand,
yes.
you know, without literally thinking about it.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what happened with Elshan as well.
It was a disaster. Whatever happened, it was bad. You're losing with white in 18 moves. And I like to say this to the audience. I'll share it again. I say it all the time. I don't mind losing.
Yeah.
That's okay. That comes with the job. You're going to play chess. You're going to lose a lot of games. Prep yourself. Learn from them. The games I hate to lose is where I don't learn anything. Yeah. You didn't teach me anything. I just made this horrible blunder. And that's where Elshan is right now. He's just angry with himself because he didn't learn anything from this game. He just blundered it right away.
Yeah, and
I hate that.
It causes a lot of frustration
too.
And coming back from it is painful.
Painful. So 2 results in that group, 1 result in the other group. Let's go to that. I thought this was
our leader of the tournament.
Benjamin.
Benjamin Burke made a draw. I think after yesterday's disaster, he didn't want to play today. He's like, no matter what, it will end in a draw anyways, right?
Well, Benjamin's having this roller coaster ride of a tournament, so...
I think he wanted to solidify a little bit. He's like...
Okay, and for me, this, as we were coming on air, that was probably why you saw us giggling. I'm laughing at the move Bishop B5.
And I'm telling you, it's just modern move.
And not only did you tell me it was modern move, you showed me Fabi Caruana, Magnus Carlsen, Ali Reza Firouzja. Who else has played this move? Wesley So. I mean, let's go. I mean, the line of 2,800 players who have played this move is deep. And I'm going, garbage. Just garbage. Ridiculous move. If you had shown this move to a player from the 18th century,
they would kick me out. They would like stop playing chess.
Right. You got to learn about development, opening principles. Don't move the same piece twice. Blah 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 blah. And you go, no, you don't understand. I'm from the 21st century.
Exactly.
I'm from 200 years in the future.
I'm here to teach you guys.
They would be like, what? Okay, put this guy in the mental house. Bishop A4. Okay, castles. Looks to me like it's a loss of a tempo. And funnily enough, if you look at this position, you'd say, well, why isn't Black happy? He has safe king, good development, his fair share of the center. I mean, if I could get this every game with Black, I'd sign me up. I have no issues. And in fact, after some trades in the center, we had, get this, more trades in the center, and the players achieved a completely even position.
And this is a funny part of it.
Exactly. Now that we've achieved this position, how are we going to make a draw?
Let's repeat it.
Let's repeat the position. Okay, there we have it, a draw. And let's get to our marquee matchup again.
John,
where are you?
It's the second,
Yes, third one. Okay, this is where we have just left it. And we kind of thought, oh dear, they had hacked their way to an even position. Nothing's going on.
And the good thing about this matchup is that both players love to play messy positions, crazy ideas.
They got it. Bishop takes g6, just blowed up the board. Takes rook e7.
Oh, Oh, that's a very smart move. So I don't have queen f7, queen g7 anymore.
No, bishop takes f3, as you just pointed out. Queen takes h6. You don't have queen f7 as a defense anymore. You're busted. Rook e7, rook c8. Okay, returning the piece. He's going to get one of his pawns back. Wow.
And then a5 pawn is the weakness too.
King h2.
I'm threatening queen h6 and
Yes,
rook
you
b7.
are. Okay.
And try to keep the
King h2.
bishop d5.
Bishop d5. Queen takes h6.
That is a very weird defense, I would say.
Knight e5. Queen c1. I'm still having a very, very hard time following the play.
White should be winning here.
I would say completely
even after queen
winning.
h4, what's your idea?
No, I think this is completely terrible, but I have to ask the question. I'm a piece down. Why don't I win the piece back? I mean, if I win the piece back, I'm 2 pawns up.
And his hope is to grab a5 pawn or b2 pawn and try to do something.
Like, so for example, first of all, I'm winning the piece back with a check. That's a pretty bad sign, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, Yasser, I'm not saying Black is doing good or something.
No, of course not.
So
no.
was it just a blunder, rook a7 from
total,
Pranav?
Total blunder. So once again, we're back here, and I was confused. We were confused. Pardon me. I apologize. Whenever you're defending, the rule of thumb is trade off the attacking pieces. I don't want to see the knight jumping to e5. I don't want to see the knight jumping to g5. I don't want to see the knight jumping.
It was the same problem. I take on h6, you take on g6, I play rook e7.
Is it the same problem as before?
It's the same problem. So bishop g6 was a miss already.
So now queen h7, queen h8 is the threat. Now you take and whoop, mate on the 7th rank.
So he played f4. Yeah, not queen h4, f4. And then he's most probably crushing.
Oh, I'm sure he is crushing.
Rook
F
went to c2, I guess. f4.
Rook to c2. Dreaming of a perpetual check. Well, okay, what's the most crushing? What would you advise? What is your advice?
Oh, you want to hear my advice?
Advice to the players.
I wonder if I can simply take or not, or can you do the perpetual check? If you can do, then I most probably I just need to play queen g5. It's a weird move, but it must be winning because your bishop is not winning.
Idea very simply to protect g2, make sure there's no perpetual, and then you're
He just take on f7. That was my question. If I can take on f7, I'm winning
with
immediately.
The knight, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the idea was
rook g2. Most probably, I will just escape to king g3, king f1.
I don't know. You tell me where you were.
Because rook e2 is an idea always, and then I should be fine.
Exactly.
And then even if you take on f7, the problem is that you give away the
exchange.
you give away the rook and then bishop back.
So he just, pardon me, I'm going to refresh the board as John Burke looks like he's cashing in. You know, it's a funny thing, but I kind of liked your queen g5 as well, just from the perspective of like not even, I just don't even know what black is going to do as a defense. I would have played knight takes f7 myself, as I said, but f4, rook g2, knight takes f7 is on the board, and I'm anticipating.
Pranav, you can see how upset he is.
Well,
but he cannot be upset about this game, right? Like,
we'll stop a moment and think about the position. Just look at the position. I'm threatening mate, queen h8 mate, right? I'm threatening queen takes. I mean, you have no choice. Now is not the time to think. You play rook g2 and let the guy show you why he doesn't have a perpetual.
You need to stop to regret about your decisions. Yes.
I got plenty of time to regret.
But we don't do it after the game. We do it during the game.
During it.
Just spend all of your time.
All the drama.
Try to understand what went wrong. And I feel like it's kind of we try to torture our opponents as well.
As well as ourselves,
yeah,
right?
It's just like they need to witness all of this process. You know what I mean? They need to be there. Yeah.
By the way, I'm just looking at the position now for. Can we just like walk away?
Absolutely, we can too.
I mean,
it's an option.
You know, you kind of. There's no check on the
diagonal. They give me more
diagonal.
tricky about it. Queen b2, queen c3. If you go to h4,
Okay.
queen f6, but after queen g5, still I am
Queen
winning.
b2,
Queen c3.
king g3, queen c3,
Queen f6, then queen g5.
and no more checks at all. Yeah, that's
I'm just rook up.
just yeah. King to h4. This looks over. Let's check in on Illia. Illia has drawn all of his games thus
Yesterday,
far.
it was a huge
Not-
save for him.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was not pretty. And they shook hands.
John Burke just won his game.
Yeah, and that was
That was a very cute tactic. Rook, bishop g6, rook e4.
Bishop g6 won the game for John. Jumping into the game of Illia's for a moment. Do we call this the 5 pawns attack? 1, 2. I mean, when you're playing
How
against a
about
King's
A5?
Indian, when you're playing a King's Indian and you play f4, e4, d4, c4,
Yeah.
that's the 4 pawns attack. And I've got 5 pawns on the 4th rank and the a5 pawn as well. So maybe you're right. Maybe we have to call it the 6 pawn attack.
Don't discriminate.
Count all of them,
Yes,
Yasser.
please.
Okay. Well, guess what? We've just made a conclusion that White has a lot of space.
Yeah, that.
What's he doing with the space? Is he translating it to an initiative?
You remember we talked about Pranav's game?
Yes.
When his opponent moved h4, g4, everything.
Right, forward, go.
And then it has a huge problem when the position opened up. Immediately, those pawns became weaknesses.
So
all
you're
over the
saying
board.
there's a possibility if White doesn't land
Absolutely.
his blow, whatever
Especially
it is.
with the black knights, you should be careful. They jump.
They do. But in this position, White has pretty good control. The knight on
Absolutely.
c5 is embedded.
That's why you have space and most probably a little bit more pleasant position. But the problem is that, for example, if I play knight a3, knight
Yep.
a c4 after
Yep.
that.
Let's see, who's on turn? By the way, it's White on turn. The last move was
actually,
king h8.
is he trying to attack himself to play f5? I think he's preparing f5.
f5.
Ilya
So-
played some quiet move.
So just out of curiosity, if I go h5.
Now I can take on h5 and play rook g8. I'm faster.
Okay.
Then f6.
I get you. The one thing about the rooks is they're kind of more or less ready to.
Flexible.
Yeah, they're ready to come over. You could take and take. I mean.
Queen
so
f6.
It's okay.
I like my position.
Probably I put your queen on the wrong square. I apologize for that. But something. You said he made a quiet move. What move did he make? We'll find out. He played king h8.
He played
Nothing.
the move. He played the
did?
move. It's Sasikiran's move right now. King on g2. He played king g2.
Okay, cool.
We don't have the move yet, but he played king g2.
Okay, I like
Now-
that move. You were about
Wait.
to.
Wait a sec.
What?
So king h8 wasn't the correct move. He played h5. It seems like h5, g5, king f7, king g2. It seems like we have totally different position.
You lose me. What did he do?
I mean, or maybe our transmission is behind in general.
Because I do see a black pawn on
Yeah.
h5, right?
Black
And,
pawn on h5 and white pawn on g5, king on f7 and king on g2, queen on e2. So we have a little bit different position than on broadcast.
Yeah, I suspect after king h8 we have king g2. I'll just make a guess that
Oh, they're repeating the moves. H5. You can put the pawn on H5, queen on E2.
Well, you're right. They are repeating. And I was about to say, I mean, yeah, we're not getting the moves coming in, but they are going back and forth. And
Yeah. Ilya made it.
Draw. He is
7 in a row.
7 in a row. I mean, I don't know what.
That is insane. He's repeating. Yeah, officially they made a draw. And
Okay.
hopefully we'll get the transmission back and we can check.
Try to understand.
Sasikiran is claiming draw.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm a bit surprised because I like Ilya's position, the 6-pawn attack with control over the c5
Yes.
outpost. I would think that white is for choice. And again, we don't know how the position, it seems that the position became completely blockaded.
Yeah, you cannot make a move, I cannot make a move.
Right, and I was thinking that white's idea might be to play h5.
They
and
are
to try
checking to make sure that it
And
was a
I think,
correct repetition.
Mike Klein,
Here we go.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ilya.
Mike Kummer, pardon me, Mike Kummer made the arbiter there, put the kings in the center. Congratulations.
I
7
predicted
on
that
7.
Aram is gonna have 9 draws as well, and he wasn't thrilled about my prediction. He's my friend, and now, but Ilya is following his footsteps.
Coming to the game of Aram and Dariusz, I don't like white.
I don't like it too.
Because here, it's one of those situations where black has the imbalance of a rook against 2 minor pieces. But the
But
2
knights
knights
are
aren't the
the
best
worst minor pieces
Yeah, and
to
the 2
have.
pawns. So materially speaking, Dariusz stands better.
Yeah.
But secondly, also his rooks. This rook is tremendous. This rook is tremendous. These knights don't have what we would call stable outposts. So if you put the knight on g6, you would say, okay, it's supported by the pawn and it's stable.
I mean, at least if you had knight on f4 and knight on e2, that would be a different position. But knight on d4 is vulnerable. Like, I can play c5.
Yeah, and kick it out.
Exactly. And then
I don't like this. Even though I don't like what Dariusz did in the opening, I thought what Dariusz did in the opening was just terrible. They got this crazy
it's
scotch.
a theory, kind of like a little bit
Yeah,
tricky.
and you know, it's just like if I was a coach and I saw a black queen on e6 in front of the bishop on c8, I would say to the student, we need to train.
We need to work on
we
this.
need
But
a lot
I
of
think
work.
It's actually a precise move to make, like queen e6, not queen g6.
Yeah, the crazy part is
Because knight
this
d5 is threatening.
This is theory, and I hate it for black. I just think that this is really just a bad situation.
The whole
I don't
idea
like-
of this line for black is to just develop bishop on d7, and you gotta play f5. It's all like, as long as you push f5, usually you're fine with black.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
that the way it goes? I just don't like this position at all for black. I think it's
I also don't like it. I played with white.
yeah, you like it for white. I think that this position is.
But unfortunately, you don't have much.
I don't understand the move queen d2. For me, I find this move perplexing. It's clear you want to get the bishop out, and I appreciate that. So you get the queen out of the way. But to my way of thinking, you know, you put your queen on e6. You know, anytime I can develop with the tempo, I'm interested. Just like I'm interested. I'd like to kick your queen. I'm supposing black wants to play like in the game, Cass. Do you want to play f5?
Oh, absolutely, why not?
Is it? Okay.
Queen f7 was well.
Okay, and so we get a position more or less similar to the game, and I'm thinking I'm here first. What do I do with it?
Exactly, that's how.
Well, how
you
do
can
I
use it.
exploit that beautiful moment. How do I exploit this moment? Knight
Yasser's
d4.
trying to trick me here.
I am trying to trick you here.
Maybe rook h e8.
Yes, and just staying there. It is weird to me. I am not making any inroads on your position.
Yasser, are you attacking?
I am
How about
tricking you.
Can I take on e4, rook d6, bishop h3?
Yes, you can.
Do you have anything?
No. How do you say? I don't.
Then I can take on h3.
I know.
You take on d6, I take, You don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Yasser's trying.
I'm trying to trick you.
Can I take on h3?
How many, what's the body count? I don't know what the body count is at the moment.
It's like bishop, knight.
Two minor pieces for...
rook.
Yeah, it's
And then
weird.
you're taking your pawn back.
Let's see what happened, because I'm not a fan of what black set up, and I'm not a fan of the move queen d2. Let's just see how it went. The players reached, probably for all I know, a theoretically approved position.
It feels like they knew what they were doing.
G4, that's a very responsible move.
I think that's a very bold move.
Me
Especially
too.
when like knight, bishop.
Wow, okay. Well, the problem is the knight's trapped.
Yeah,
I have no choice.
like,
I actually...
You
is
are
that true?
You are choosing knight
Is the
g3,
knight-
rook h3,
Okay, is the knight...
knight d4,
Yes, thank you. Knight d4.
knight e2.
Oops, you blundered. You
I know.
blundered.
So I need to play rook g1.
Rook g1. Okay.
Yasser's like,
No,
you blundered, not
blundered.
me. You
I
blundered.
blundered. Knight
d4.
d4. And
Probably this is the problem, right?
yeah, the knight is actually just trapped. I could give up the exchange, but that was definitely not the idea when I did this. So he took on f3, and now it's one of those things.
I think it's all about
Where
you,
it
like
became a judgment.
evaluating.
Yeah,
Exactly, judgment
yeah.
call.
Right.
Who has a
So
better
when
judgment
white
call?
played g4, he judged that this position was going to be good for him. When white played g4 and Dariusz captured on f3, Dariusz made the judgment this position is good for him. In my opinion, black is doing very well. I'm more than curious how the players are going to come in and evaluate and share their viewpoint. For me, I like black. I don't know. I love this rook. And like you said, the knight on d4, the fact that it's vulnerable to c5
But
makes me think.
After rook g2, I'm on time, like king f1, rook g5, and
Yeah.
then knight f4. And then I will go back with the knight. Maybe I'm holding a draw.
Sure. Wow, by the way, we just got word that Andrew Hung
Won his
is in
game.
town. He has won, and he won fast against Alexander Lenderman.
Yeah, Lenderman's position
And-
looked a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, as we came on air, we were...
And as you mentioned, bishop e5. Let's go back to this
Yeah,
position.
more or less, the players reach this position very quickly. Well,
Yeah.
we're going to get Andrew. So somebody's going to rotate out. Okay, we're going to lose you yet again.
Yes, enjoy the interview. Yasser.
All right, I will.
Have it longer.
And when we left, well, as we were coming in on air, we didn't like Lenderman's position right here. We felt that white was the one for choice. And to explain all the action, and Andrew is going to join us and tell us what happened. Welcome to the show, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, it's going well. Well, at least we have nice interviews together.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what do they call this opening? Dragendorf? Is this the Dragendorf?
I mean, he played the classical Sicilian with g6, which is, I'd say, quite rare. And I remember this idea with knight e2, knight 4 is quite good for white.
It's quite good. Yeah.
And it's not the most common way to play, so I thought might as well give it a try for this game.
Okay.
And
well, it sure looked like you knew what you were doing. I mean, because for ourselves, when we, like I said, when we came to town, exactly in this moment, we liked your position. How did you feel?
yeah, well, I knew like usually when you take on e6 and then even though it looks strange to put the bishop on c4 because you get hit with tempo,
Right.
as long as you like keep this bishop here and the pressure on the e6 pawn is I knew this type of position is better for white. It's supposed to be at least.
Okay.
It looks quite unpleasant for black.
I kind of like the move bishop f4, but should he have played bishop e5 here? What was your? Should he play bishop e5? What was your thoughts?
Bishop e5. I mean, it was a possible move, but I think the issue what he was
Struggling with?
yeah, what he was struggling with was this bishop can eventually be easily kicked with f4.
Right.
And this pressure is still extremely unpleasant and
Fair. I mean, you're right. F4 is good. He played knight e5.
yeah, actually, if you
Oh,
go
sorry.
back,
Please.
for instance, if I think the immediate f4 was maybe one of his concerns because if you take on f4, then you take on f5. And
Exactly.
this comes under fire, so
Right.
that's why he chose knight e5.
Okay.
Bishop b3. Yeah, I'm never afraid of knight g4 because I can just take on f5 and everything collapses.
Feels bad.
Yeah.
Feels
Okay,
bad.
so he found an interesting idea, rook f6. Pretty
Okay.
sure his idea was if knight e2, which looks very natural,
Mhm.
hitting bishop, maybe knight going d4.
Mhm.
So I think this should be better for white. I mean, because if you trade the queens, then both pawns will drop.
Right.
But queen h4, rook e2, this looks fine for white, I think. Say if knight g4, just h3.
Double edge though.
Yeah.
Hold on, just a second. And if I go rook f8?
Yeah, I mean, you can play rook f8, but here at least I can take with tempo.
Ah, sorry. And then
Or
knight g4
or
though.
rook d6, actually. No, I think rook d6 is
Oh,
stronger.
rook d6 is
Yeah.
much more convincing.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
but knight g4, h3, and then the point is, I think if you take on f2, there's nothing here. Black's king is weaker, and if you take with the rook, at least like let's say rook d1 or something. That's what I was thinking. And this looks, and I'll push back your pieces, and then I think
And then you
black
take over.
collapses. Yeah,
Black
But-
will collapse.
but after knight e2, I thought his idea was this interesting move g5. Which
Okay.
looks extremely strange, but rook h6 is coming, and I think if you're
Okay.
forced to take on f4, this might not be the greatest position for white because black's solved most of his problems. Yeah, if takes, probably rook takes.
Okay.
And then like queen c3 is a natural move of wanting rook h6.
Right.
Knight g3 is coming next, but now it'll take on e4, and
Well, black is looking for
Yeah.
chaos.
Right.
Anything that kind of confuses matters because.
so that's why I play knight b5, which I think is stronger.
Okay.
I'm hitting d6, and I'm coming to d4.
Okay.
Queen might come to c3 and might be knight c7 as well.
On a good day as well.
Yeah, and the key point is that I don't block my rook. So if he takes, I can always just take, and then let's say d5 I come back. These weaknesses aren't going anywhere. So
It's like the structure just kind of collapses.
yeah, it's really tough for him to defend here. I think knight f7 was a decent try, and here I think it was important to find this take in queen h4 idea,
Mhm.
because what looks natural is knight d4, but I'm not sure that white crashes through after bishop e5 because.
Yeah, because this was his whole concept when he went bishop h6 to f4 was to get a secure
Right.
bishop on e5.
Yeah, say you can like check some variations here. Let's say if like bishop takes these.
That was the first variation that Begim wanted to play.
Yeah,
was
because
bishop.
if knight e6, unfortunately there does not seem to be a win here, and then queen f6 next,
Right.
holding on. But if
Yeah.
bishop takes looks very interesting. There's bishop takes d4, and now the best I saw was this, but I mean white's better, but I thought I should have something better than this.
Exactly. And also, is knight g5 ever an issue for you?
Oh, if knight g5, I thought queen h4.
simple chess.
And then, yeah, I've taken this drops, if knight takes, knight at 5.
Nice. Pretty.
Yeah, and then
Thank you.
say if h6, you can just drop
Well,
back.
yeah, then you're doing
Not
great,
blundering
man.
this, of course, but
Right.
you drop back.
Right back. Nice.
It takes, and then after, if you take here, bishop e5, this was like not so clear to me because
Right, we got this position
Say
too,
you take-
because there's a rook h6
Yeah.
business, right?
yeah. And then if you play f4, then at least I thought black can take here. And then now this check,
Right,
and then queen f6.
and again,
Like he's holding on, yeah.
yeah, he's struggling, yeah.
So I didn't see anything better, but I was very happy to find queen h4, which I think probably just kills black. The point is if bishop e5, now f4 is strong, I think.
Agreed.
Yes, a take.
Oof.
Okay, not rook b1 because I think a6 seems okay.
Okay,
But just simply bishop takes e6, and the point is this pin is strong.
exactly.
And I have so many discoveries, and I can also take on d6, so it looks like his position's collapsing.
Agreed again.
Yeah, so that's why he played bishop g5. And queen g3 I thought was the simplest. If queen b4, maybe he can still hold on with rook d8, and it looks terrible too, but
Yeah. Yeah, I saw something with queen b4, f4, knight
yeah.
d4?
Yeah, I saw this for instance. I mean, maybe you can try this,
I
but
didn't see bishop
But
h4.
even this, yeah, even this obviously should be bad for black, but this was not the cleanest way I thought.
Okay.
Black's still holding on. And if you
Okay.
play queen d4, it threatens this.
Yeah,
Okay, e5 then f4 probably is very strong.
pretty.
But I thought he has a defense king f8 here, which is still holding on somehow because if takes, there's rook d8. If f4, just bishop h6.
It's one of those things he's just holding
Just
on,
holding on,
you
yeah.
know, like, but it's all tactical.
But I didn't see the clearest way. But I thought queen g3
G3
should
was
win the
the
game
best.
because this hits this pawn.
It's the pin. He's
Yeah.
threatening f4, h4.
For
And
instance, like if rook g6, I mean, I can take here, and then like at the very least I have this one, and then everything is dropping.
agreed.
So I guess he has to try f4. And
Mhm.
here I have like two very good options, queen g4, queen c3. I thought both were strong. Queen c3 again, hitting e6. He can't not play e5 because I take and d6 falls, right? So
Right.
one of the defenses I thought he could try is king g8. And then here the idea is knight c7, rook c8, and then there's knight d5. But it's important to continue the line. Knight e7, king f8.
Yeah.
If you take, then take. It's not so easy, but I think knight d5 should win here.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah,
That's very, very
to destroy
beautiful.
black's structure before you take.
Precisely. You know, that kills all the harmony
And
in the
here,
position.
here I think take is the easiest and get everything started. So this should win as well.
Right.
But I thought queen g4 is completely winning as well because of h5, which is very natural, then rook e6. And once I win this pawn, this bishop's open up. This pawn drops, everything drops. So
Beautiful.
e5 drops,
Yeah.
bishop takes
decent.
f7. So I don't know what to try from black. He played rook e8, yeah, but knight d4 is good, but this is probably the simplest.
Okay.
Takes. You can't go here because rook takes d6.
Oh.
So yeah, here rook d4, and this probably wins by force. Hitting this pawn.
Yep.
You can't ever go here because the trade.
Right.
This drops.
Knight is hanging.
Yeah.
Pawn is hanging.
And so you tried this, but like this allows me to win with bishop e6. Here, everything falls. If
It's
takes,
not only that you played a very good
Queen
game,
h5.
but it just feels like you calculated it very well. Sometimes,
Mhm.
you know, you win a nice game,
Yeah.
but you feel like, well, maybe this was very good game. You feeling good about your tournament and this one in particular,
Well, the tournament, there's still like a long way to go, but
right?
at least this game was decent. So
More than decent, Andrew.
Thank you.
Congratulations! When you're preparing your best games of chess, you just gotta put this one aside. It might make it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
so much. Yeah.
Cheers. And we have a number of results, and one very, very important result too was from John Burke, and he won a very nice game with this beautiful sacrifice on g6, which actually I want to say it was a stunning sacrifice. We certainly hadn't seen it. John, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, happy to
Tell
be
us
here.
about today's game.
I will first of all say that I missed a million things in this game. So,
a million, not just
yes,
not
this
just one or
one's-
two. This one, and also if you like the
Okay.
key. Tell us when your prep kind of stopped and you just. So far, it's all standard.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Everybody's
right
good.
here is the first critical moment. So from my
So-
understanding, bishop b7 is inaccurate. The main line is rook e8.
Exactly.
And then white can play a number of things. White can, for example, play this line, which sacrifice the pawn anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Rook takes e4, knight g3, and it's very complicated.
Exactly.
But the problem with the move order that he chose is that it lets me get my knight around without any problems.
Then the moment the knight gets to g3, life is very, very good for you.
And this always will win a piece. So.
Indeed.
So I knew that white is clearly better here.
Right.
And yeah, I didn't know how much better, but I knew that this would be nice for me.
This was exactly my thought. And right here, stop for just a second, because I already felt your position overwhelming as strong, but really good.
Very promising. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very promising. You had that feeling at the board as well. You played, so here it's like you have a number of things you can do. You can go, I don't care, queen d3, rook d1. You can go d5, you can go e5. You know, like you've got these promising choices, options. You came up with the move d5, which I
Yes.
think is a very good move.
Mm-hmm.
How did you reject the others? Because here it's
Yeah.
good, right?
I have a lot
mean,
of choices. True.
like,
Yeah.
right? You know,
It's
if
tough
could
when you have
this
a lot of good options to
Right.
choose, right?
Right.
So, like, I have to be careful. Like, queen d3, c5. If I let
For
him get
example.
c5, c4.
Clear.
Yeah.
So you might go, for example, queen c2 then in that case, right? Just to
Yeah.
avoid c5, c4.
Mhm.
But I think c5 is too slow, right?
Takes
you
in
go-
rook ad1.
And rook
maybe.
ad1 and
Yeah.
e5 and maybe e6 and
Yeah, maybe. But
splat.
the thing is, the reason I chose d5 is because it's positionally good for me. If this stuff with queen c2, c5, if it doesn't work out tactically for me, then he can get counterplay. But
Okay.
after d5, even if I miss something, it's not as concrete, so I'll just be better strategically.
Exactly. And how did you reject e5?
e5, well,
Because that's also very forcing, right? You look at
Yeah.
the forcing moves first, right?
yeah. I
Yeah.
know there are similar lines where black plays while the knight is still on c6, e takes d4, c takes knight b4, and then white
Mhm.
plays e5, knight d5. And so here is a version where the knight is on e7 instead of b4, which I
Yes.
think should favor black. And I didn't see anything concrete here, so I
You
thought
know,
to keep it stable.
It's funny because you just look at this position, and I was so in love with your position already at this point. You know, I even like consider, you know, like these kinds of things already. It's like one of those positions that you're going to go rook e4.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're telegraphing your punches, and it just felt like he had blundered to allow you these possibilities. And I thought at this point, queen c2, e5, d5, you got these wonderful options. You played d5, and you did it because you knew that even if tactically things don't work out for you, you're not taking any risk, and you're pressing.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So at this point, how much of an edge did you think you had? Did you think it was?
So I didn't have to play rook d3.
Oh, sorry.
I could play more slowly queen d2 than I thought he would play knight e5.
Yeah.
Maybe even that was objectively correct because I just kind of did this on instinct. I thought my position is just
Good.
so nice. But
Right.
the thing is, if he has time to play rook d8, for example, then he can come close to
Neutralize.
equality.
Exactly.
So here, probably I didn't play the best way. I didn't really know what else to do. Like, the point is he wants to play rook d8. If I play rook c1, the idea of rook d8, rook c takes c6.
C6.
But he simply takes the pawn. And I didn't really see any follow-up here, which is a little bit surprising. Well, he's hitting my bishop, so I don't really have time to do a whole lot here.
Right. And how annoying.
Very annoying. I can play other moves. Queen d2 crossed my mind, and then
Protecting a5, maybe just, well.
playing
pre-
slowly.
Yeah, prepping the triple.
I
Yeah.
thought rook e2 maybe
Rook e2.
was coming after these pawns, and
I
yeah,
guess
it was
queen c3.
queen
don't know.
c3, rook c8, rook g6, knight e5. It gets weird.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was hard to work it out, but I thought
Yeah.
bishop c2. I
Was
thought it was
interesting.
nice.
Okay.
But maybe in
Let's
hindsight
see,
it wasn't
because
best.
things blowed up.
Yeah, so it's
And
all kind of
right
direct.
about...
All of that is
yeah,
forced. I can play bishop b3 here as well, but
Right.
I went for rook e1.
He went queen c4.
And here is an important moment where queen
Yes.
f6.
That was my question.
Probably
what
the
had you
better move.
intended?
So I was thinking queen d7,
Mm-hmm.
and then knight takes a5, and first of all, I can't win a piece with like b4 because bishop takes f3.
Clear.
So I was thinking knight e5, and
Right.
next I'm threatening queen c7, b4. It looks very good.
Right.
And he can never play queen g5 because the f7 pawn is hanging. But after rook f8, I was kind of seeing this from afar, and I didn't see a win.
Yeah.
If it does exist.
If it does exist.
Queen c7 looks good at first, but then I gave up the e8 square, and he plays rook e8.
Which begs the question, John.
Yes.
Rook d8
Well, here I think queen c7.
and rook e8.
True. Maybe knight g4. Maybe knight g4 was the thing here.
Ah, okay.
Although
okay.
it's
so
still
that
not-
was why you wanted rook f8
Yeah.
and not rook d8. Okay.
It's
knight
not
g4.
over here. Maybe this is. But then king g7, knight h6, king g7. Yeah, then I might lose. So,
Okay.
but it was hard to see if there was a win
Right.
there.
Because we're going to get to this very... You saw bishop g6 from afar.
Yeah, I mean when I played rook e1, queen c4, queen d2, I saw it, and
Mhm.
I thought it was very likely to occur because after queen d2, he doesn't really
Have a good move.
many other options. If he defends the pawn with king g7, then
Yeah.
at the very least I can drive from back with rook e4, queen c5, b4, or something like that.
And then start looking
Yeah.
westward.
Yeah, because my only problem is my a5 pawn is hanging sometimes. So
Right.
if I have that under control, it'll just be
It
good
was
for me.
Bishop takes g6. You got here.
So-
and, yeah.
Yeah.
sorry.
So here, actually, I missed something quite large.
Okay.
So from afar, I was looking at this line, and I thought this was funny. Knight d5, rook takes queen c6. And out of nowhere, I'm just kind of
You're
trapped. I can still play rook b6 and play that, and I'm probably
Wow. Yeah.
still better there. But
Okay.
so my intent was to play knight e5, but I just completely missed queen e4. And now I'm worse, I think.
Why queen h6?
Knight e7.
I'm sorry, your rook is hanging. Apologies.
So here, like knight e7, for example,
Right.
and I'm in trouble maybe, or at least.
Well, it's
Not
it's
better.
yeah. It's definitely it's a fight.
And I only realized that afterwards. So here I would have had to go for this rook b7, queen to 6, rook b6 line, and just play that because
Oh my.
yeah, I just didn't see queen e4. I thought it's one of those illusions when you're calculating that you forget the rook was guarding the e4 square, but you put your knight in front. So now the queen has access. I was thinking queen c8, knight g6, and completely winning.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he didn't see the idea of knight d5, I guess.
Oh my. So mutual mutual blindness. It's
Yeah.
so common in chess.
It
I mean,
happens.
absolutely. Rook e7, queen d2, and then it was kind of funny here. Exactly at this moment. Well, kind of funny is the wrong word. You would play knight takes f7. And of course he was going to play rook takes g2, and he was like thinking,
Yeah.
like there's no other move than rook
Yeah.
takes g2, and then I assumed
My
you were
king.
going to king h4.
Yeah, my king just runs up the board.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million ways, but just one example line is
Right. And
like king c4, queen c8, king h4.
exactly,
yeah,
we've seen
There are
this.
many ways. Yeah.
John, very important victory for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the championship rounds, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I
Who do
am.
you play tomorrow?
I play Benjamin tomorrow. Benjamin Bach.
Ooh,
Yes.
big match.
Mhm.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, John, for joining us. And we will take a look at the other games that are still remaining. Begim will join us. Begim wanted to put one of Aram's knights to f4. She will be very pleased to learn that Aram took her advice and did that. But I still...
We're friends for a reason,
Friends for life. Even though he's done what you suggested, Begim, I still don't like White's position. I think it's all
Kind of dangerous, I would say.
all black here, I would say. I just like the setup.
Yeah.
Just look at the knights. it's always been my perspective. The knights have a very strange property, and it's a property that you should really keep in mind. When you play over the Grandmaster games, you see where they put the knights. But knights improve when they're protected. It's a very strange property. This knight is better on d5 than where it currently is because it's protected by a pawn. And knights are constantly searching for outposts. And when they're, we even say the knight's in the air. The knight's just kind of like drifting around. When the knights are unprotected, they often find themselves under trouble. Looking at this position, I feel that Dariusz, he'll play moves like h5, king c6, b5.
But the good thing is about this position, as long as I control h pawn, most probably I will make a draw, first of all. And secondly, if you move the king, my knight's going to jump as well.
Sorry, if I move the king. So I did, I intended to move the king.
Now immediately I cannot do that. Maybe knight king e3 and rook h3 and knight d5, slowly I can improve. As long as I have some squares for my knights, I'm not like hopeless.
Yeah, that's a good point. King e3
but now,
and rook
maybe
h3.
My idea is like, for example, if you play b5, right?
Okay, yeah.
I know there are many complications in this position, but I just want to make a point.
Sure.
Knight e c3, exchange.
Knight e to c3, yeah.
We exchange on c4, for example.
Sure.
And then my idea is just to put my e2 knight on d5, not f4, so I can control your h pawn.
So these two knights, one knight will be sitting pretty on d5, the other knight will be sitting on f4. And are you sure you're controlling this pawn? Okay, you get the setup. You get the setup you want.
And the thing is that I'm not only controlling.
I have to.
But we're talking in general about the position, right?
But it's okay. We'll get a check.
Yeah. D3 maybe.
D3. Okay. And we'll put the pawn here. So.
I just stay. Maybe a4.
Yes.
Just
so a4, and so your thought at least is that the knights are protecting each other.
And not only I'm like
h3.
controlling h4 pawn, but like I'm kind of controlling your g4, rook g4 as well. So, and then my weakness on c4 is not not as much visible, I would say.
Korchnoi had this wonderful expression. Victor Korchnoi, and he would say, weaknesses are only weaknesses if you can attack them.
Exactly.
And if the pawn on c4 cannot be attacked, it's not a weakness. But
it's a problem. Like you should understand. Should I put the king on d3 or f2? That's a question, right? Aram needs to answer, and then also, how did we end up in this position?
I don't
Aram
know.
decided to exchange the rook. I'm not sure about this exchange, even though it's.
King e6, I think.
Whoa. They just make it to the time control, by the way.
King e6, that is a funny move because he is offering a check and this pawn.
Yeah.
He is offering the b6 pawn as well.
But Yasser, you need to note that he made a move in 2 seconds, basically, on his clock.
Yes, I see it now. He has 32 seconds.
Move 40.
So he went all the way down.
Yeah, 2 seconds and made a move. Basically, he didn't have enough time to calculate all the lines.
I was about to say, time travel addicts do that. Nikolas and Mishra, I love we're talking about the two knights in the previous game. I love the two minor pieces in this position. It feels to me like white is for choice.
It's not the best combination too, right? Bishop and knight.
Well, yeah, the two pieces.
For example, two knights, it depends on the position. Two bishops, almost always great. And then bishop and knight, usually it's the worst combination of
the two pieces.
pieces.
Yeah, here again, it's just that this knight is wonderfully secured, but not the ideal square. the ideal square would
Is
be
F6.
something like f6.
And that's
one
what
of the
Nikolas
prime-
is trying to do.
He just moved his bishop in order to vacate the f6 square. I think he's aspiring for knight g8 f6. I see this as black desperately trying to hold, and I would be surprised if white doesn't win. I think this is a
I think
winning
Nikolas
position.
will make a draw.
You think so?
He will
Okay.
find a repetition at some point.
Okay, well,
And then knowing how tricky he is, until you grab his pawn on h7 with
Right.
knight on f6, he will create something.
are we jumping in the pool, or is it the ice bucket challenge? Who wins? I like white very much, and let's just check out the other competition, as we've had two decisive games. Andrew Hung, by the way, came over and
It was a great interview. I could see you were enjoying it,
he
Yasser.
played beautiful chess.
Absolutely.
He really did.
It was
Andrew
a great
played
comeback.
a really, really nice game. Let's just jump in. Justin looks awful this last position. He's two pawns down and a rook ending. What is there to discuss?
It was
It's
a
over.
hard start for Justin, and he never recovered
No.
after that.
No.
I feel bad for him because he's such a talented player.
He is.
And then he showed during the juniors how talented he is, and then
Absolutely.
he's such a inspiring, and he plays interesting chess,
For sure.
and it's hard to see him struggling.
Exactly. Well, in this case, Semyon, who's doing very, very well in the tournament, by the
So
way.
far, he's tying for second, and after this win, he's gonna catch up with the leader of
Exactly.
the tournament, who's Akshat Chandra.
Quick question. I mean, am I blundering? You know, normally speaking, whenever I can get into a key and pawn and game a pawn up, that's usually good enough.
Usually, you're not blundering in such
Well,
cases.
yeah, but am I like?
King G1.
Yeah, exactly. Am I not?
I mean, there's
In
no way
time?
you're not on. Like it's 2 pawn.
Exactly. So, don't you find this move a little confusing? I mean, I would have played. I mean, I love gaining tempi.
Yeah. When I was talking to you, back of my mind, I was also thinking of rook b6. Why not rook b6, right?
Why not rook b6? In any case,
It's just he probably decided rook b7. I don't have to calculate anything, and it's just
Okay.
winning.
Batsuren.
Ooh.
Okay, this was the Pillsbury. Let's just see how
Yeah.
they got here.
Very interesting
He
position.
did play queen c2, by the way. We were looking at
Yeah,
these kinds of tactical ideas.
and I liked White's position.
Me
I mean,
too.
perspective of the attack. Just
Me too.
ooh,
But check it out. I mean, that was
I'm
three
not
pawns.
sure about this one, but okay.
3 pawns for the exchange. Okay,
3 pawns
but these pieces.
are very bad plays.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
I don't
not
like
sure
queen b3.
I'm not sure I like queen
Can we
b3
do
either.
something quickly? Like, can we? Oh, queen d4 is coming. I'm on time to consolidate all of my pieces as well as black.
Yeah.
Can we put king on? Can we ask our opponent? Would you mind if I play king h1 and then rook c2? Right?
Right. Okay. I take a different approach to the position. So my approach would be, what's my most powerful piece? That's obvious. My queen. My queen is my most powerful piece.
I don't think
of course
so, Yasser.
But my queen
What your queen is doing?
Correct. What is my queen doing on a4? Absolutely nothing. What would be a good square for my queen?
How
If
do
you could
go
pick a
on
square.
e5?
I'd go to d6.
Immediately now.
Yeah, I'd make the illegal move, queen d6. So,
I was thinking
Let's
of
put
queen,
the queen.
a5, queen a5,
Perfect.
queen e5.
perfect. Queen a5, go to e5. Queen d1, go to d6. But whatever you do,
You go somewhere.
get the queen into the game. Like, for me,
I thought the queen
by the way,
d1's problem was queen c5.
okay, I'm a pawn grabber. Never mind. Just give me a pawn.
Your
perfectly
rook is
happy.
pinned. Your back rank is not great.
Give me your
Yasser.
pawn.
Knight c6 maybe?
Knight c6.
Am I being too
Okay.
ambitious?
Okay, so queen d6 doesn't win at once because there is queen c1, which is a little bit
that's
bitty.
the whole idea.
Okay, queen e1. But what did queen d1 do? It gave, I won a pawn. I mean, and I'm bringing my...
It's very important, right?
Very
I want a
important.
pawn.
I want a pawn. And I
Okay.
coordinate my pieces. So for me, the queen on a4 is out of the game. You didn't
Yeah.
like queen b3. I didn't like queen b3.
Absolutely.
Your approach might have been queen coming across,
But
right?
yours is
But
looking good.
either one. Queen b3, let's take a look. How did it go? Whoa. Okay, maybe that was a surprise move for white here, because
That's right.
he did win the pawn.
Maybe he thought this position is winning for him. Is it possible that he thought like that?
It's possible. No, this position could never be winning. 3 and 2,
It's always holding.
always holding with the bishop.
Especially after bishop like e6, how are you winning my pawns?
Exactly.
Even I put b3, king f6.
Well,
everything is
no, I have to win a pawn. Otherwise, it might be worse. If you put your king on f6 and your pawn on b3, I might be worse as white. Maybe not losing, but I might not be.
So you're gonna.
So I
chase
have
me.
to. Yes, I have to chase you. If you go here, I will go here. And if you go to d7, excuse me, bishop to d7, I'm going to keep chasing you until well, actually, that might just be a draw on the spot.
That is true.
Yeah.
And also we have a result.
have
Lomasov
another.
officially won his game
Against Justin. That was the rook ending. We thought it was hopeless when we came into it.
Yeah, after rook h7, rook a6, rook h7, it's collapsing immediately, and you cannot even take on a5.
Because that is a king and pawn. No, we don't have to calculate. Your king is on the a file.
See, that's the funny thing about chess. You make a move saying, "Oh, I don't want to calculate," but next move still you gotta calculate.
You gotta calculate. Okay, that was very, very nice for Semyon.
So we have 3 games you're mining and 2 games on the B section, in the B section, and then we have a game.
Yeah.
1 game, not 2 games in the A section and a game on the B section.
And the Nikolas versus Mishra game, by the way, it's funny that we were saying that white would love to reposition the knight to g8, and it's funny that the 2 pieces would be both vulnerable to
and I'm
king
telling
f7.
you, these players are very tricky. Nikolas is known as a very tricky player. That's why it won't be easy for Abhimanyu to win the game, but maybe he will come up with something interesting.
Hold on. I'm thinking Nikolas as white is the one who's trying to win the game. You're thinking Abhi.
You said you're thinking Abhi is winning. That's why I was so confused.
No, I'm thinking the 2 minor pieces win.
Oh, okay, Yasser.
Yes.
Now we are on the same.
Sorry, I'm
Never
thinking
mind.
I'm thinking white with the 2 minor pieces win.
So,
and all we need to do.
So Abhimanyu needs to be tricky. The funny thing is that if I, for example, play knight g4 right now, black can play e3.
And that's an easy draw.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We have another interview.
Awesome.
Am I going?
No, yes, sir.
They we should want to talk to you, Begim. But we have Semyon. He will join us as we take a look at this game of Aram and Dariusz for just a moment. This was the 2 knights versus the rook, and I thought Dariusz was going to win. I'm no longer sure because he's gave up his h-pawn. In the meanwhile, Semyon will join us as he has won his game. Let me see. Oh, it's Justin. Hi, welcome again. Nice to see you. Tell us what happened today. Take it away.
Crazy game. Yeah, I went for this opening that.
Please.
Yeah.
You can either use that or the cursor.
Sure. Petrov is kind of an opening where, it's always difficult to come up with something that wins on the spot.
Of course.
So I went for this line that's not that popular,
Right.
but you know, it has been played many times. I'll show it in a second. So d4, knight e4.
If you don't mind, I just share a story with you. So, what you were saying about the Petrov, finding an opponent, finding a line that wins on the spot. Ha! How about finding a line that gives an advantage? So I was a young boy, and there was a major tournament going up in Vancouver, BC, Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was from Seattle, and Paul Keres was playing in the great tournament up in the Vancouver, but I couldn't play. I was going to school. I was a schoolboy. And he was playing one of the strong British Columbian Masters, and he has white. Paul Keres got this position, and very quickly, like it was all part of the winning plan, he played d2, d3.
Oh.
And then after knight c6, bishop e2, d5, knight d2, it was a reverse Philidor that he won easily, like 23 moves. It was like, I was so ready for somebody to show me how to get an advantage against the Petrov. And it was d2, d3 by Keres. You came up with this line. And
Yeah.
sorry to take it away.
Sure. I mean, d3 here, as you said, is I'm sure some players will do that. Maybe Rapport.
You're Richie.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But you really have to have a certain mindset to make these moves.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't understand how playing white you can play d2, d3 on move 3. I don't know.
Exactly.
But, okay.
And get an advantage. Yes.
Yeah.
And d4, and yeah, this was an old line. d5, knight takes. Knight d7, they used to take on d7 in the old days.
Yeah, I think they still do. There are many, many moves
Right.
that are played. It's really one of the key positions. We can remember Magnus playing Nepo in the World Championship
Exactly.
in this line. I castled. I guess the most famous game here is Fabi versus you in 2021, I think, in Titus Steel.
Right.
Takes, knight c5, bishop e3. We actually went exactly like they did.
Okay.
I'm not sure if my opponent knew that. I would think he did because he played pretty quickly, and it's not the most obvious line, I would say.
Right.
He played c6, f4, takes g6, knight c3. This is kind of the key position. There are many, many moves here, and b6, as he played, is what you played against Fabi.
Right.
So
It's funny you keep saying you, and it's not me. I didn't play it. But yeah, the Chinese player you
Yes.
has played b6.
Exactly.
against- Yes, please. Continue.
exactly. Rook d1, bishop f5, queen d2, queen d7. Here I was already playing out of prep. I didn't really, it's hard to get an advantage on the spot in Petrov, so I just wanted to play something, just some interesting position that's
Sure.
not balanced.
Okay.
But
And you haven't achieved that.
that's true. But as I started thinking about the position, I thought that I could get worse very easily if I don't make the right moves.
Okay.
So if you imagine that
Well,
black bishop goes to what I would say e7, c5, black castles and goes d4.
resign.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was worrying. 'Cause, when
An example of what could go wrong.
Exactly.
Yes.
I guess as always in the openings, you just look at the most forced lines and then you're
Right.
like, all right, if he knows the moves, it will be a draw. But here, looking at the position, I thought it doesn't have to be a draw. If I don't play well, I might lose.
Okay.
So I played knight e2. The idea is to play knight g3,
Attack the bishop.
attack the bishop. Bishop e6, very mysterious move.
Confusing one. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, if he goes bishop e7 and castles, and you go knight 3 g3 and take the bishop, okay, you executed a trade,
exactly.
right? Bishop e6, confused. Okay.
b4, it
Okay.
wasn't, it was just like a move to, I guess, to save time, even though I spent quite a lot of time on b4. I was just thinking, okay, I'll play b4, he will think, and then while he's thinking, I'll come up with something better. But the funny thing was, he played every move instantly.
No.
Yeah. So as a result, I just had to think a lot on every move.
That's funny. So he instantly flagged to bishop b4
Yeah.
with bishop e7 as
Yeah.
if he expected your move b4.
Exactly.
Which is a kind of a confusing move, but he didn't find it unperturbed. Okay, so
Knight g3,
knight
h5, f5. So it was kind of a bluff. I wasn't really sure if I could do that, but I just understood that if I don't play f5, and let's say I let him do a couple of moves, say h4 and then rook c8, c5, then again, it's just terrible.
Exactly.
So I knew I had to go f5, takes
Okay.
bishop g5. Again, I was thinking, okay, he has to play h4.
Right, knight e2.
After h4, I have many options. That's we
Including?
will come back to in a second. So I thought, okay, I'll play bishop g5, and I will think while he's thinking on which move to make. And instantly he plays h4.
And it's like, will you stop? Stop to think. Okay, and what was your plan?
I mean, I had
Bishop
no plan.
e7, knight e2.
I just thought it looked nice.
Right.
I had zero plan. I thought he would think, and then I'll come up with a plan. He played instantly, so I realized that I have to do something.
Right.
There are three moves that I was thinking about: bishop e7, knight e2, and knight f5.
And knight f5 too,
Exactly.
of course.
The positions, I think, are very complex. I'm not sure which move is best. I took on f5. I guess we won't go into details.
But okay, you
Let's-
win back your pawn. Let's go.
Yeah. Bishop takes.
And you
Bishop
thought
takes.
the resulting position should favor you.
I wasn't sure. Actually, when I just started looking at it, I thought that after bishop e4, which is what you did, maybe
Yeah.
just for some of our viewers, that
Yes.
black recaptures with the king.
Queen g5 check, and
Yes.
you must be better in that
Exactly.
case.
So bishop e4, and it's a weird position because I think both of our kings are quite shaky. And at the same time, it's not clear how to attack each one of them.
Right.
So,
Bishop f6, rook g8,
for example, bishop f6, rook g8,
rook d2, and
f2,
queen, so the light squares, yes.
yeah.
g4
So
looks like
g4, e6, and I was just thinking he would do that, play king d7, and I wasn't sure what to do.
targeting e2, targeting, pardon me, g2. Yes.
Right. So instead of bishop f6, I thought I would play bishop g5. The idea being he cannot play slowly with, say, queen e6 because rook f6 will always be dangerous.
Right.
At the same time, if I manage to somehow push this bishop back, then his king is stuck in the center and I will open it with e6,
Right.
which is kind of what happened. So he played queen g4,
Right.
h3, queen h5. An interesting move. I'm not sure why he didn't play queen g3.
Right.
I think I would have done the same thing that we will see in a second, but
Okay.
again, I'm not sure. I was low on time, so I was kind of just making moves and, you know.
Mm.
Um,
It's a double-edged position, a dangerous position to be in time trouble.
yeah, absolutely. So when I first went for it, I thought I must be slightly worse, but probably okay.
Okay.
But then the more I looked at it, the more I realized that he doesn't have a good response after rook d to e1. In, I guess, wherever his queen moves, this idea of taking on e4 is very, very dangerous.
Right.
So maybe again for our viewers, he cannot really retreat because then e6 just ends the game.
Right.
He really has to play very quickly with his king in the center.
Okay. And yet that's very hard to do. King d7, rook takes e4. That's clear.
Exactly.
Yep.
So rook g8.
Okay.
My idea was rook takes e4, and here,
Again.
well, he took on g5, which made my life a lot easier because, you know, at least with equal material, it's easy to play
Yeah.
in time trouble. de was the move that,
You spent all your time on.
exactly. So my thought process was to go queen d6,
Mm-hmm. Threatening mate.
but then after queen g5, I don't think I have more than a perpetual.
Check.
So queen c6, king e7,
Queen b7.
queen b7, I
King
think king
e6.
e6.
Rook f6 check, and his king just goes for a walk.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Oh no, he's running all the way
Well,
down to b2.
Exactly.
That's funny.
The good thing is I can
You
play
always
queen
have a
d6 and
perpetual. Yeah, right.
So then I thought,
Oh, wait a
I
minute.
can go e6.
Include e6.
Exactly. It takes, I go queen d6,
And now we're back in business.
and now whichever piece he takes on g5 with, let's say queen, I think I take on e6 and not on c6, and then I win. So, for example, king d8, rook d1,
Right.
and unlike in the
C6.
previous line, I now can activate my rook.
Yes.
7, I guess, maybe for our viewers, rook d7,
Check.
and then it's mate.
Right.
So the problem is, while he was thinking in this position, I realized that after d takes e4, e6, he has rook takes g5. And so I had to pretty much hope that I could find something. Because otherwise, I mean, it's just draw at most. I don't think there's anything here.
Wow. So queen
Yeah.
d7 check, king f8, no rook takes, no e7 check, king g7,
Yeah.
and he walks away.
So I panicked,
I panicked. I like it. I panicked. And?
but luckily I think bishop f6 wins. I think. I mean, it's just fully improvised.
The board,
but, you know.
improvisation at the board.
Exactly.
Wow.
I think the only defense from queen d6 is queen g6,
To
getting
protect
g2.
G2.
But then I think rook d1,
And now you're threatening
and
mate.
then queen f5, queen d8. So I was happy with that.
Right.
I mean, he probably saw that, so he played rook g5 pretty quickly.
Right.
But then after rook f4, I think it's quite hopeless, because his king is so bad. I mean, if he castles long, then with all of these queen a6 and stuff, it's really, really bad.
Exactly.
Rook e5, queen c3,
Yeah.
threatening
C6.
c6, rook e6, takes on f7.
There's a check on a8
Yeah.
as well.
I guess the only thing I had to worry about was queen takes f7, but then queen h8,
Wins, yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
He castled. I just took on e7. I mean, maybe there are some other moves that win, but I thought rook a7 can't be bad.
Thank you for that, by the way, as a pawn grabber. It can't be bad. Yeah.
Queen e5,
And by the way, queen g7 was also potential
Queen G7,
threat. Yeah.
rook f7, queen a3, queen a6. I think
Right.
so many threats. And after queen e5, I think I could win on the spot, but I actually, and save myself a couple of hours. I took on e5,
Yeah.
but then after I took on e5, I saw that he became kind of happy. So I thought, what am I missing? And I think I'm missing rook f7. I think this could be a quicker way to win.
So after queen c3,
To queen c3, it's
mate.
Yes.
Ah.
And after king b8, I think rook a8 wins.
And now you have queen a3 and mate.
Exactly.
You could have saved us a lot of time.
Yes.
Think about the commentators. I mean, it's not all about you. Nice. That's a
Yeah.
pretty move,
Yeah.
setting up a mate. Sorry, we have to call the action because we've got other games that
Sure.
are going on.
Sure.
You went on to win a very nice rook
Thank you.
ending and very, very important win.
Yes.
Nice, and I thank you for sharing that whole thing with e6 and which sequence. I like the improvisation. The board.
you.
Thank you very much, and good luck in the
Thanks.
championship rounds coming up. As we have just a few games remaining, Aram and two. Ooh, no, he did. Yeah, this is that drawn rook ending. Pardon me. There was this lovely story of Garry Kasparov. He's playing in what was called the Spartakiad of the Soviet Union. And he had a bishop and a pawn versus a rook. He had a bishop and a pawn versus a rook, and the game was adjourned. And hi, Begim, welcome back. And Garry Kasparov called up his trainer, Michael Botvinnik. He said, I'm adjourned. I have a bishop and pawn. I'm worse against rook and an ending. And he didn't tell Botvinnik the position. He didn't. He says, I have a bishop and pawn as compensation for an exchange in the ending. And Botvinnik said, is the bishop anchored? Is it protected? In this case, the bishop is anchored, yeah? And Garry said, no. Botvinnik said, you're lost. And he didn't know the position. And he was right. That was it. That was the end of the story. In this position, the game is a draw. Why? Because the bishop's anchored.
And I cannot trap your king into a checkmate as well.
Checkmating patterns, no, because I'll always have, like,
Because
if
I
we,
always can run it, well, like worst case, I always can run on C8
exactly.
or G8.
or G8, and
G8 looks much
and
better.
I always have a tempo, so there's no. But I just thought that was a very nice story.
That was
and-
an incredible.
I mean,
love hearing
Gary
yours.
loves that story, by the way. He tells it a lot. Let's just take a look at some standings as well, if we have them. And we
Absolutely,
do.
we do
Group
have
A
them.
standings. Take it
So
away.
Benjamin Burke is still leading the tournament with John Burke, who won a great game.
Yes, thank you to
With
John for joining us.
4.5 points, and Benjamin had a quick draw today. And tie for third, it's Raunak and Nikolas Theodorou.
Exactly. Now, Nikolas, he could
Is
draw.
still, yeah, he's still playing.
And therefore jump in, and if something happens,
Probably Nikolas either is gonna make a draw or win the game.
well,
so.
let's just see what is going on in that game. This was the
Oh.
game with the two minor pieces versus the rook. I thought that white could be winning this game, or even put it another way, I think that white should be winning this game. But
I
the
really
question,
don't think white is winning this game, though.
Why? Bishop h6? How would you play? Just clear the cobwebs for a sec.
Can I play rook c2? That's the question.
Sure. Okay, that very directly attacks my
And
pawn.
king f5.
Okay. And let's say I want to win the pawn. How exactly am I supposed to win the pawn?
And rook c3 check?
Rook c3 check. I don't know. My king is my pieces with the king. I need my king on f4.
Yeah.
I want to win the pawn.
That's why I'm trying to put my king on f5.
on f5.
I mean, the thing is that as long as I can exchange f2 pawn to e4 pawn, I'm not
then-
risking anything.
Then it's a simple draw. But I really thought around here white should be winning.
But I have a feeling Nikolas is gonna make a draw, and Abhimanyu is holding the position. That's
Okay.
how I think Nikolas is gonna join the leaders and tie
Okay.
for fourth with Benjamin and John.
Wonderful. The position between Aram and Dariusz, in my opinion, has changed completely.
I don't know what happened, but
I
Aram
don't
is
know
not
what-
looking great.
No, I think white might be winning suddenly the position. Why do I think white might be winning? Well, first of all, there was a huge loss. If there was a black H pawn on the board, white's knights would have to be there, keeping that pawn under a watchful eye. He won that pawn. So now everything just went to the queen side, and I'm looking at the position, and white's knights have anchored squares.
But I
The
have a
def-
feeling it will end in a...
What are you on a draw? Okay, why?
how are you winning my king king d6, like,
King d6. Okay,
and then
it-
king c6,
okay.
and then I'll just put
Put-
b6.
Put the pawn on b6. Now,
And I have a question. Can I play like no? Probably I will improve my rook and then play b5 exchange, and then probably will take on c5. I'll take on a2 and make a draw.
do you know you lost the whole audience with what you just said? You went really, 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 really fast. What did you say? You wanted to go b5 and rook takes
no.
a2
My
and
idea
make a
is
draw.
to activate the rook first.
How do you do that?
Probably rook h8.
Rook h8.
But it's your move. That's the problem I have. That's why I'm just telling you my ideas, throwing ideas
Okay.
out there.
Okay, yeah, just a second. We just went really, really fast. Knight a4, king went back to d6, and how do I coordinate so I mess you up? Where's my knight? I went to g3 and e4.
Which looks good. Like if you
Yeah,
go to
but-
d5, the problem is that I can play b5 there and exchange the.
Yeah, let's say knight f4, knight here,
Just beat it.
and
King
yeah,
c7 is holding.
it looks okay. I like white. We'll see if this has been a complete turnaround or not. Because earlier, I really did like Dariusz's position. I was
It
really
seems very
surprised.
dangerous for white
Oh,
with the
boy.
h-pawn on the
For
board.
sure. As we get prepared to close our broadcast, once again, we want to say to our audience, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you like our coverage of these classics. These have been very, very nice for us. The summer of chess in St. Louis continues, by the way, because we have Fisher Random Chess 9LX coming up.
Yeah, it's a great event, and we will start the event with ultimate moves, and then we will switch to rapid, which is going to be 20 plus 5, and we will have the best players of the world.
They will indeed. And of course, we have ultimate moves in conjunction with the Chess 9LX. The ultimate moves is a kind of, trash talking tournament.
Yasser loves it.
I do. I mean, come prepared for the insults.
Yeah,
you
come
know?
prepared to be
Insulted.
to receive insults,
And
right?
that too.
To
that
be
too.
insulted.
So that's very nice. And once again, we're going to just take a quick gander at the standings as we close our show. Take a look at the B group. One game remaining.
Absolutely. We still have Batsuren and Arman
Big
playing.
game. Yep.
But most probably it will end in a draw. But
Right.
for now, we have tie for first three ways, which is Lomonosov, Hong, and Chandra with 5 points. And Arman and Brandon, they're tying for fourth and third, basically, right? And it's just so close with like Arman is going to be behind only half a point.
Exactly. Two great wins by Semyon and Andrew. A big shout out to them for coming and sharing. And once again, thank you so very, very much for joining us. We're here every day.
4 p.m. Central Time, guys.
That's the one. That's the one. And in the meanwhile, good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a lovely rest of your day, guys.
Absolutely. You too, Begim.
Bye.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.